Have you ever wondered how some schools manage to landscape their playgrounds, build swimming pools and construct classrooms?
Would you accept that? Would you?
Andrew Carter from South Farnham School in Surrey has got something of a reputation for raising money. In his 13 years as head, he has raised an astonishing £1.6 million for his school. But he knows it means a lot of hard work.
Or, of course, there's the other alternative, to expect to come in on a Monday morning and open an envelope with a cheque in it. And if you believe in that, you probably believe in fairies.
Mandy Gard is balancing the books at Plumpton Primary in East Sussex and dealing with all the problems of life in a rural school.
Our problem financially at the moment is that we have a falling school roll. Demographically, the number of children in this area are getting fewer each year, and we're in competition with other schools for children who are on the borders.
When Brian Mayer arrived at South Malling School in Lewes, there was a budget deficit of £40,000. He turned the school around in 2 years.
Parents just feel that they want the school, they want it to be a good school. And I think once they know if the school is running well and they can perceive it to be good, they don't need to ask the questions, well, how do you get there?
And at Silverdale in Hastings, head Phil Stevenson has been nicknamed Arthur Daly for all the deals he does on behalf of the school.
We're not a sort of soft target for people. People will know that we'll drive a hard bargain, and generally we found that businesses will respond to that.
These head teachers are going to share some of their top tips for financial success, starting with fill your classrooms.
We want parents to bring their children to Silverdale School as a choice.
I think the school markets itself, but as they do their tour of the school, they're shown everything. I show them the school grounds, the swimming pool, talk positively about our achievements.
From the point of view of the school budget, that's the biggest single element. Pupil numbers is the biggest single element. So if our pupil numbers fall significantly, then our budget falls.
So we managed to get a £5,000 grant, and we spent that on setting the nursery up. We visited other nurseries so we knew exactly what we wanted, how it was going to run. The very first year when the nursery was set up, we had a full reception class booked into the school for the first time for a few years. So that was a big investment, but you know, once again, we think, you know, offered us great value for money.
If you have just one parent a year who decides to come to your school because you've got an after-school care facility, you've gained £2,500. It's very profitable. We formed a company which is called South Farnham Services Limited, which is a limited liability company, and that runs the club. We call it a club, it's an after-school care facility, and people come, they pay between 3:30 and 6. We run it in service days, we have done some in holidays. That's a development. We don't do breakfast clubs yet, but that's clearly a development that could happen.
You can either look at the three estimates and then think, right, well, times are hard, finances are under some strain, so we'll go for the cheap one. Or, as you do what we do, we might go for the cheap one, but only if it's through a company that we know well and have done work for us, and the work has proved to be quality. And I think the important word is quality.
We do, if you like, put people up against each other and say, well, you know, we've been offered such and such a deal, and can you match that? Those savings on their own may only amount to, you know, a few £100s, but if you put all of those things together, it's actually quite sizable sums. Jan and I work very closely together. We not only set up the budget together so we understand exactly where each part of the budget comes from, we also monitor the budget very closely, so at any point in time we know exactly where we are.
When we first met, he said to me, "I'm very cavalier with money." I said, "Well, I'm not." So that was quite a good combination, I think. But no, we do check each other occasionally, but we do very much build on each other's strengths.
It used to be a secretary burst at this school, but the person in that position left a couple of years ago, and we saw an opportunity to actually develop that post because it is a key position, and I think it's worth investing the money to have somebody with the expertise to run that. Although it's expensive in terms of my time, and I'm not a financial expert anyway, it's certainly worth it to us as a school.
Best value, well, people. You spend most on your teachers, you get the teachers right, that's the best value, absolutely every time. And there's one thing you should do, never, ever, ever rush over appointing teachers.
This year we have our second graduate teacher. We've been very lucky. We had a very good one last year, we've got a very good one again this year. And the government pays the salary of the graduate teacher for the year. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a great way of having an extra person in the school who's got some expertise and can help our children.
If a teacher has less days off because they're happy at work, then you're saving money. You don't do it to save money, but the results of caring for your staff save you money.
We try and be as creative as we can by joining up with local schools. So, for example, sharing a bus with the school down the road when we went to Worthing to see a Shakespeare production meant that both schools could afford to go. Whereas on our own, we had a year group of 20, we couldn't have afforded the coach. But putting 40 children on meant that it was a feasible project. Network learning is a key issue at the moment, and it's something that our LEA is very keen on. So if we can put in projects together, then they like to fund those.
It is the case that the major things that have transformed this school have been funded by parents. And parents know that things like Shade for Children, big project around that, about computers in classes, about every class having a data projector, about classes having interactive whiteboards. These are things that we know realistically the school cannot afford. But our Friends Association have always been hugely supportive, and that's where we've got that funding from.
We decide what we're going to buy, which range from all sorts of very boring things like maths books, paper, chairs, etc., through to quite exciting things. Now, what we go to the Parents Association and say, what is going to be the one that appeals to you this year? We work with PTAs a lot. Some are very keen on computers, and then you find 2 years later everybody's sick to death with computers. They want to buy musical instruments that year, or they may want to buy opportunities for artists to come and work with the children. Whatever it is, they buy it. Now, they buy it, and therefore their money, actually, we get the benefit of it the following year. Because the following year, if they give us £20,000 of things we were going to buy this year, the following year we have a £20,000 surplus in our budget.
Their efforts built the swimming pool that's still here today, and I can't tell you how many children must have learned how to swim in that pool. And when you live by the sea, it's a life-saving skill. It's a very, very valuable asset to our school. It's one that we use in our marketing as well.
We have many, many lettings in the school, after school, through the evenings. The schools use it weekends. We don't charge a huge amount for those lettings, so that attracts customers. But the benefits are huge to us in doing that. Firstly, we get people in from outside who wouldn't normally have visited South Morning, and they see the school for what it is, and on the whole, very, very impressed with what they see. So there's good PR being established there. We've also got our own community using it for keep fit classes and martial arts, dancing, and all sorts of things go on. We make sure we cover our running costs, and then we make a little.
Most evenings there will be at least 1 or 2 activities going on. The swimming pool will be in use, or the halls will be in use. So we do let the school out. It helps to bring the community into the school.
There isn't a lot in the village. There aren't any big businesses or big shops that can sponsor us. So we have to try and be as creative as we can. Plumpton College is a an agricultural college which is about 2 miles away from here. We have a link because some of our parents actually work at the college, and so we've been able to ask their students for advice on our playground and play area, and they have also been involved in actually coming in and building structures for our children, things like that. It doesn't cost us anything. We like that.
When you go to your community, your local businesses, your parents, the government, and say, I wish to build an ICT suite, if that's what you want to build, here's the plan, that's where we'll do it, we can do this, what can you do? You'll get an answer. If you go to any community, any businessman, any government and say, give us £100,000, and they say, what for? And you say, I haven't decided yet, the answer will always be no. We've got homework on it, we've got homework suggestions, links for parents so that parents have to use it. All our letters go on it and all that sort of stuff. We create a base of people that are using it on a regular basis. Once you've created the number of hits on it, and you have to put a little counter on it of course, you end up then with something which is marketable, because people always want to advertise on areas where people are going on a regular basis. We have a link with an estate agency, and the estate agency are very keen because our school is quite popular and people want to find out where they should buy a house and so on. They pay for the privilege to be there. We see them as business partners.
Some of them work in the city and have a very clear idea about finance. And I think sometimes when I'm a bit concerned about a piece of proposed expenditure, and I'm thinking I'm not really sure we can afford it, one of them will very quickly do a mental arithmetic calculation and say, well, you're talking about 0.3 of 1% of your budget, so just do it. And I think that kind of sense of realism is invaluable in a school. If the school's not run well financially, the following will occur. Lack of investment in the right areas, curriculum initiatives stagnating, staff feeling a lack of development and investment in the school and could lead to demoralised staff. Governors feeling there's no point in them doing anything because there's nothing exciting to be done left at the school. Children feeling that they're now back in a place that's drifting and becoming tired looking and backward looking. And I think when you have all those elements coming together, you may end up with a school that has falling standards.
Not all the children come.
Everything in this school, everything you look at, everything we do has a financial implication. And it's us working behind the scenes to ensure that the funds are available.
Of course, ultimately, if you don't manage it, it isn't money you're not managing, it's education you're not managing. We have money, and we only just have enough to get through each year. So we need to make sure that we handle that resource really carefully, because that is the tool, the power, the lever that brings in educational opportunities for children.